Hey, Brian,
Yeah.
did you know that recess may actually make kids behave better afterward?
Yeah. Because those little hellions are tired.
Life is full of questions,
Some smart,
some silly.
and some that absolutely should not have been asked out loud.
From science and pop culture to the mysteries of everyday life.
We chase curiosity wherever it leads. We do the research so you don't have to. I'm Brian.
I'm Jess.
Welcome to Life Science.
No, really. A national study conducted of third graders found that those kids that got at least 15 minutes of recess behaved better in the classroom. And so when my teachers would take away recess when our class was bad, they were actually just shooting themselves in the foot.
Every parent knows you take your kids to Playland or something to wear them out so they leave you alone. You know what makes going back to school and starting your day off great?
What's that?
Great breakfast with a great cereal.
Right.
So, for those that are following along, as you are hopefully doing, we have the results of a poll that we took last week where someone thought that Cheerios was all that.
It is.
Okay, well, I have the results of the poll, which you have not seen. The winner is actually a tie. Raisin Bran and Raisin Bran Crunch and Cinnamon Toast Crunch tied for the best.
No!
Cheerios falls into fourth, and Life Cereal is actually tied for fourth with the same percentage at 16.7%.
I'm heartbroken.
Well, that's what happens when you tie yourself to a cereal that is not as awesome.
It is awesome. I agree that those other cereals are delicious. I just feel that Cheerios is superior. Also, Life Cereal is really good. We just bought some.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, since we've decided that her cereal lost.
No.
Well, I didn't decide. You, our listeners,
simply
decided.
Underrepresented.
Fair enough. So we're going to start off our episode with some research-backed facts and figures all about going back to school, returning to school, and just school in general.
Yeah. So school pickup lines. We have a school pretty close to where we live. I drove by it the other day, and the line that parents wait in their cars to drop or pick their children up from school was obscene. That's the only word I can use for it. It was around the corner and literally blocking traffic. I looked it up, and there is research on this ridiculous phenomenon because I know I've heard from parents all over the country about how insane these pickup lines are. One school in Colorado did some research of their own car line and found that it meant about 42 minutes a day that parents spent either picking up or dropping off their child. So I did the math, and over the course of a 180-day school year, which is typical, that's about 7,560 minutes, or if you would like to make it even more depressing, the same amount of time, 5 full days, plus an additional 6 hours in the school car line. Imagine taking a week off of work and then spending some of your Saturday waiting for your kid. I would imagine that the numbers, while they may vary, would still make you ill if you were to measure your own kid's car line.
And that study was from 2023, so that's fairly recent as far as in science terms goes.
Yeah.
But on that, you don't want to wait in the school pickup line. You always take the big yellow bus.
You can.
The yellow school bus fleet in America is just enormous. The United States has nearly 500,000 school buses carrying more than 25 million children each school day. The familiar yellow bus is part of our country's largest transportation system. And, I remember riding in those uncomfortable green seats.
No seatbelts.
No seatbelts.
Bouncing around.
Oh, yeah, and getting yelled at.
Yes. I remember seeing the driver's eyes in the big long mirror.
You knew you were going to have detention too. When they locked eyes.
Yeah, that was you were over.
Yeah.
Game over for sure. When you get to school, there comes a point in the day where you're going to have lunch.
I did look at a study on this. I wouldn't have thought about this, so I'm glad somebody else did the research on it. Researchers compared elementary schools that moved recess before lunch with schools that kept recess afterwards. And it was afterwards when I grew up.
Same.
So after the switch, students ate 54% more fruits and vegetables. And the percentage eating at least one serving out of fruits or vegetables rose by 10 percentage points. On that, I want to give a shout out to Southern Oregon University. They have a farm there at the university, and they give fresh fruits and vegetables to all the elementary schools in the district from that farm so that elementary school kids have fresh fruits and vegetables available to them.
That's fantastic.
All right. What's your next research backed fact and figure?
So my next fact is close to my heart because I have a lot of teachers in my family and a lot of my friends are teachers. I think about it quite a bit. I know I hear about it quite a bit from them about how much they're spending of their own money to prepare their classroom every single year. Federal data shows that 94.8% of public school teachers spent some of their own money on classroom supplies. This was during the 2019-2020 school year. It's probably very similar now. It's a little bit older research, but from my observations, that is still the case, that they're still spending their own money. Elementary teachers averaged about $500 investment into their school supplies for a year.
In this economy, I don't have that kind of loot lying around. Kudos to them.
Absolutely. And so parents, when you get that list asking for some extra hand sanitizer or a box of Kleenex, it really would help our teachers save a little bit more money for themselves so they can eat Cheerios for breakfast.
Teachers give a lot of themselves and time as well. Having known quite a few people that are teachers, they devote so much time.
They do. In fact, last year, a national survey of public school teachers was conducted by RAND, and teachers actually reported working an average of about 49 hours a week, which is about 10 hours more than they're actually contracted for. Mathematically turns into an extra work day tucked into every week. So teachers work 6 days a week.
Honestly, I will soapbox it up. I definitely think teachers do not get paid nearly enough for what they have to endure and the standards which they are held to, and rightly so, but they deserve to be paid way more than what they're being paid.
Absolutely.
Across the country. We're going to dive into our big ticket topic today, and this one is very, multifaceted. We're going to talk about later school starts. Later school starts are not mainly about making teenagers go to bed earlier. They reduce the mismatch between adolescent biology and an externally imposed early wake time. Research shows that the later starts can actually increase total sleep rather than simply shifting the whole night later for them.
Interesting.
The big arguments that you generally find is they're just going to stay up an hour later because they don't have to be at school. This is a complex issue, to say the least.
Yeah, it is. And a lot of parents might think that this has nothing to do with anything except that teenagers are biologically programmed to make their parents miserable. But science has disproved that. They have found that teenagers, middle school, high school students that have later school starts actually tended to go to bed about the same time each night. They don't stay up later because they are waking up later. They actually got more sleep. A Seattle-based study said that after start times moved to about an hour later, students slept about 34 minutes longer per night on average. So these kids were going to bed about the same time, but that later start gave them an additional 34 minutes of sleep. I know I would love 34 additional minutes of sleep, but the reasons for needing this additional sleep is biological. They don't want to just be jerks and sleep way later and make their parents late for work and things like that.
So puberty shifts this internal clock to a later time, roughly 2 hours. Sleep Foundation says the average teen may not be able to fall asleep until around 11 p.m. And that just means that the just go to bed earlier is not a complete solution. A teen can get into bed earlier without the brain becoming sleepy early enough to provide that 8 to 10 hours before an early school wake up. And this isn't just about teenagers being tired in first period algebra. Jennifer Harrell, a sleep researcher at Missouri University of Science and Technology, puts it pretty starkly. She says, inadequate sleep promotes several diseases that reduce lifespan. Her research is looking at underlying biological mechanisms that might explain why sleep has such broad effects on our health.
So how does that translate into everyday function?
Well, sleep loss has effects beyond feeling tired. Sources associate insufficient adolescent sleep with obesity risk, lower physical activity, risk taking in substance abuse, depressive symptoms, and other long-term physical and mental health concerns.
I would love to touch a little bit on the psychology and mental health component
And that
of
affects
this
it. Yeah.
time shift. So the APA put out a meta-analysis that students who started school between 8:30 and 8:59 a.m., not 9 a.m., but 8:59 a.m., had longer sleep, a less negative mood, better social, emotional, cognitive, behavioral, and physical developmental outcomes than students who began school just a half an hour earlier. So that's a pretty impressive difference, just shifting it a half an hour. Sleep deprivation is associated with depressive symptoms and other behavioral health risks. It also impacts how the kids interact with each other, which can make managing behaviors more challenging for educators. So, Brian, can you tell us a little bit more about how the cognitive component of this works in learning and how maybe insufficient sleep impacts that?
Insufficient sleep makes learning harder. Sources connect too little sleep with reduced attention, fatigue, irritability, and poor academic performance. And the Seattle study mentioned earlier, the final grades in the biology course study were about 4 to 5% higher after the later start. There was another study in Minnesota that found a smaller academic effect, roughly a 0.1 average GPA increase after districts delayed start times anywhere from 20 to 65 minutes. The little nuances matter. Later start times are better supported as a sleep intervention than as a guaranteed grade boosting strategy.
Yeah, this isn't going to ensure that your kid's going to get perfect score on your SATs.
Yeah. I mean, definitely get as much sleep as you can, though.
Absolutely. That makes anybody feel better.
Yeah. What the science doesn't say, though, is later starts are not a cure-all. A later bell can create real implementation costs for the district and for the families. This issue is very complex. This issue covers safety and injury science, behavioral and school psychology, developmental science, social science, and equity. And when you look at changing bus routes, when kids, they're getting out later, maybe they have a job they need to do. Do they have to work for their family?
That's right. It has a ripple effect for sure.
100%. Any issue that is complex, to get a perfect result, you have to have a solution that is tenfold as complex.
There really is no perfect solution to this, Brian, and that's why this is such a well-discussed issue. I really think that every community needs to look at their own students and their own families' needs and work together to figure out what works best for them.
Well, on this topic of going back, we'll end our show on this. I think we do another poll.
Okay, let's do it. I'm going to win this time.
Okay. First off, you're not going to. Secondly, what's your favorite school lunch item that you miss? Like sometimes I would knock out a cardboard square piece of, you know what I mean?
Yeah. My favorite one, though, peanut butter and fluff sandwich.
They served that at your school?
They did. And apparently that was a rock star move.
Okay.
I didn't realize that. But now I appreciate it.
Mine was the unique soybean burger. I don't know what it was.
Oh, you had fancy food.
No, hold on. They said it was a hamburger. I look back and like, that meat
was not meat?
I'm not sure it was, but the hamburger had a unique taste. It tasted like gas station hamburgers, you know, the ready heat ones that you get.
Ew, yeah.
That's such terrible food.
Yeah.
So thank you, everybody.
It's been great chatting.
We appreciate it. Talk to you soon.
Stay curious.
Well, that's another episode in the books. Thanks for joining us today on Life Science.
Follow us on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. And connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Have a question or a hypothesis, or maybe even just a rabbit hole you think we should explore? Send it to us at email.lifesciencepodcast@gmail.com. It might just inspire a future episode.
Until next time, stay curious.